Thank you very much, and danke. I just wanted to explain a little bit what the chemical industry is doing. It's providing you all the materials and all the processes and the biotechnology and the materials you would like to have when you're sitting at your digital device and you're having a quality of life and you look at your television set. And for those of us who are a little bit older, still reading newspapers, maybe. Many of the companies or most of the companies are still world leaders. They've been there for 100 years, so they innovated themselves also as going forward. And I just wanted to come back that there is also outside the research economy and the information economy, there is another economy who provides growth and jobs for people who work every day and to use then these issues as we go forward. And that's why I want to make here a point that science is not only linked to the research community on the excitement and creating knowledge and these kind of topics, but it really must be turned into growth and jobs. Otherwise, we will be running the danger of losing or have a severe challenge to democracy as well, because if people are unemployed, I don't have to go any more further on the next election as we come forward. So, also, what can science then do and what role does it have for the innovation? And just outline it a little bit and explain to you a little bit. I just want you to participate maybe in one of my typical days. So I have a new innovation, We are super interested, everybody wants it, and then the thing starts. Because in a way, in the assessment, we are information and data giants, but we are knowledge dwarfs. And I want to question what is said, that more information will lead to more knowledge. I severely put a question mark to this one. So I find out then that my technology in some publication switches on 200 genes in human cell lines. And nobody has a clue what it means. Or I would say, I don't want 200 genes to be switched on. Then I go to the internet, I have anecdotal stories coming on. Oh, we saw this, we saw that. Then we have the natural thing that science is also in many areas creating uncertainty. We have one question, one answer, and two new questions, because we want to move forward on the topic. And then I have a publication bias, because if I want to put my data forward, that I have looked at the baseline of what is normal in a river, the publication journals tell us, oh, but this is not real science. Huh? This is, we want to have cutting-edge science. So we also have to discuss what science mostly do we need also for decision-making. And sometimes this is very unsexy science, but we need it. Otherwise, we don't know, for instance, what is normal. And that, of course, also leads then to the mistrust of the public to the institutions. And that's not only industry, that's scientists, that's media, policymakers. And in all these settings, I then have to decide, do I invest in that technology as it goes forward, and do I do it in Europe, or do I do it somewhere else in the world? And I think that's a question which Mr. Giscard d'Estaing mentioned in the topic. We are sitting here and we're thinking, because we are very rich, we are very privileged, but other regions are running to keep it, and we have to be better. And that, of course, brings me then to the question, do we want to be a knowledge creation society, and we live on it, and I'll explain a little bit later, or do we also want to be a knowledge exploitation society? Do we want to create growth and jobs? Because on the growth and jobs side, it's again the other way around. We are knowledge giants, and we are growth and jobs dwarfs in creating new growth and jobs. And I just want to make again the point that research and innovation are linked, but they are different animals, and they have different drivers. And an invention is not automatically an innovation. And we need some different approaches, and we have to be clear what we are talking about on the topic. And just give you one or several examples. The European paradox is called Valley of Death. We have super research facilities and researchers, and we are world class. And in many areas, we have 30% of all the patents and publication in the world. Compared to US has 30%, Asia has 30%. But when we talk about growth and jobs, we have less than 1% of the growth and jobs created. We have lost the battery race. There is no battery manufacturer anymore owned by a European setting. Causes major problems for the car industry because it cannot drive the electric cars anymore. In the biotech area, it's the same. Most of you remember that we are world leaders in solar panels, with having 80% of the world market gone on the topic. So where are we? Internet, we lost the thing. I very much like to hear the discussion on the digital agenda. I would like to see if we are really competitive on this topic, and I would like to see the growth in jobs created from that one. So we also have to keep in mind that the manufacturing, the doing things, is still very much a driver for our economy, because we are still strong at that. And mostly in areas when you're in trouble, you concentrate on the things on which you are strong. So we have to see what we do as we go forward. And that has to go together with ICT and manufacturing to make it better as we go forward. And that's, of course, also related to our policy topics. We can't build a smart city with Chinese solar panels, with Microsoft software, and with Saudi Arabian materials. Do we want this? Is it a way to have our economy as we go forward? On the other hand, we have, of course, breakthrough technologies, and we're currently working, for instance, as a chemical industry, to set up a public-private partnership to turn CO2, which is a perceived nasty gas, into new feedstock, because you can then help the biomass to be used for something which makes sense, and you use this thing for something else. You can allow storage of renewable energy on the topic. If you turn it and use CO2 and the sunlight as we go forward. So there are a lot of things going, and I would also put the things forward that the other regions of the world, to be honest, they have a much more strategic view, for instance, on joining up public and private investment and partnerships. Europe is currently investing around 60–70% of its public spending into research, and the rest on innovation. Korea, 17% on research, and the rest on innovation. Mr. Obama has just put down the American expenditure to 18% on research, and the rest on innovation. And the same goes on in China. So we can, of course, question they are all wrong. But let's see where we go from here. So I very much appreciate, and we as an industry, we are here in Europe, we are committed because there is a big science and research base. We need this. But we also need to get active on this exploitation. Because science is not only excitement, it's not all about knowing everything, but really, like I said, turning it later in growth and jobs. But innovation is also about change and doing things differently than we have done before. Many times I hear, oh, we have FP5, 6, 7, and we are on our way. Now, I hear this story now from 10 to 20 years. So something must be wrong. Either the patents, and we have evidence for that one, that more than 6% currently of the public-funded research in Europe is exploited outside Europe into growth and jobs, with a growing tendency. So innovation is change, and it's also about sometimes scaring people, because they see the uncertainty coming up. And at the moment we have the paradigm and the problem that we have the discussion about the opportunities for innovation and the concerns about uncertainty of new technologies in completely separate fora. And you will never bridge this gap if you don't bring these people and these groups together in a discussion. And I think that's the most urgent point as we go forward, because then it allows us to develop certain scenarios. If I want a low-carbon economy, I have to use certain nanomaterials. I can say I don't want nano, but then I put a question mark to the low-carbon economy. You know, these kind of discussions, we have to do much more, and I urge media to help us, or everybody on this one, and then we can develop optional scenarios where then the policymakers and the people can choose from with the appropriate confidence. Now, this is my day which I have to deal with every day, so at night I go to sleep, and then I have to think about and I dream about, do I have a Groundhog Day, or am I now in a catch-22, because then I wake up the next day and the same goes on. So I really would like, also from this meeting, to create an impetus to be smarter in our task, and this is not digital smarter. It's simply being more clever, bringing our knowledge together, exploiting it much more, also in the real world, to be better, because if we want to live better, we have to be better than others, and to also be faster as we go forward, because speed is important. We think we have made dramatic changes in our policy system, and I heard it in the intro. But gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, the others are running on the topic. So where will we be in 10, 20 years on this one? Because currently our wealth is built on the innovation that we did 10, 20 years ago. So if we feel good now, it doesn't mean we will stay that forever. So not only in words and policies, and not just connect people, not just give information, work together that we can really create these growth and jobs, because Europe is really this place to. And I would very much like to thank the organizers for having this kind of debate, but keep in mind that innovation is also there, and it's not only about nice research results. Thank you very much.